Houston Real Estate Radio on the 950 starts now.
Welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio this Sunday. I'm here in the RREA.com studio with my co-host James Brown, and we are coming back with a call-in from Robert Denk. He is a senior economist with the National Association of Home Builders. So tell us a little bit about, here in the new year, what you think is going to happen.
Well, we think that the economy will be getting stronger. We think the labor market will be getting stronger. And we think that the housing markets will be getting stronger.
That's good. That's good news.
Yes. We think that actually the experience that we've had so far in 2012, late 2011, and so far in 2012 has been pretty good. We think that going forward into 2013, we're going to make even more progress. Let me give you some statistics here. On average, from about 2000 to 2003, nationally, we averaged about 1.3 million housing starts, single-family housing starts per year. In the early 2009, when the national housing market sort of bottomed out, we had fallen to about 27% of that level of production. Here, toward the end of 2012, we've climbed our way back up to 41% of that normal production. Nationally, we think by the end of 2013, we'll get above half, probably around 55%. And by the end of 2014, we'll be up to maybe 70% of normal production nationally. Now, different states will sort of come back at different paces. We think that Texas will actually be getting back ahead of the national averages. So that's pretty good for the progress going forward. That's what we expect to see next year and the year after.
Which regions do you see having the most growth, the fastest growth? You mentioned Texas. Are there others?
There are. Actually, the common themes that for both the best-off markets during the boom and bust and our forecast going forward, the common themes are sort of energy states. I always say that when a barrel of oil is over $100, Texas and Oklahoma are doing pretty well. At the same time, when a barrel of oil is over $100, coal and natural gas start to look pretty good, so areas like Montana and West Virginia come into play. So a lot of the energy states, the center of the country, those have done very well and will continue to do much better. The other theme is agricultural commodities. Think corn and ethanol. That's another sector of the economy that has done well comparatively during the sort of recession that we've been through. And that tends to be those activities tend to be centered more in the middle of the country. Those are also areas where the level of building, the overbuilding, the housing boom, and the house price bubbles, those are in the center of the country. Those areas, that's where those extremes were a lot less than we saw in some of the other areas.
Mm-hmm. How did Texas avoid all the price bubbles? What do you think?
Well, I think one of the things that we know, which distinguishes Texas from some of the hardest hit markets, is that there's a lot of developable land. One of the things, particularly in places like beachfront Florida and coastal California, where there's a limited supply of land, that was a big driver in terms of the house price bubbles. When prices go up, you tend to get more production, and these things follow each other. So the boom and bust, or the higher prices driving higher production, inflating the bubble, that's the sort of thing that led to the boom and the bust cycle. Texas avoided that by having plenty of developable land, and that kept the prices at a more stable level, and that kept production at a more stable level. And the underlying strength of the economy also was a very helpful factor.
Yeah, most people love that they can move here, and the cost of living is so low. I talked to someone the other day from Chicago, and she said, I heard y'all have a low cost of living, but I just can't believe you can get this much house for $200,000.
That's right.
Now you mentioned California and Florida. How far along are they on the road to recovery?
Well, let me just throw out a couple of more numbers for you. At the sort of bottoming out of the economy, places like Las Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona, the coastal Florida markets, and California, some of those markets, production absolutely ground to a halt. They were doing 10% of their normal level of production. In places like Texas, that was an area that, nowhere dodged the bullet. Everybody had some level of housing market collapse, but in Texas, production only fell by half, which is doing much better than
just
the
half.
Vegas market, where it's 10%, virtually ground to a halt. And the other part is house prices. Again, house prices have been very stable in the Texas markets, and that has avoided a lot of the boom and bust cycles. So while the hardest hit markets bottomed out at 10% compared to the 50% in Texas, those markets are now struggling back to maybe 20, 25% of production, whereas Texas is more like 60 or 70 already.
Wow. James and I have Robert Denk joining us on the line from Washington, D.C. He does a lot of analysis and forecasting for the National Association of Home Builders. A lot of great information. Tell us what you're seeing as far as builder trends that are going on in the country right now.
Well, we're seeing an improving trend in housing starts. We're seeing an improving trend in builder confidence. Our housing market index, which is a measure of builder sentiment among our members, has been moving up steadily. It bottomed out at, the index, it goes from 0 to 100, with 50 basically indicating that half of the builders think that conditions are improving, or the builders are equally divided between conditions are good and conditions are bad. This index that runs from 0 to 100 bottomed out at 8 at the absolute bottom of the housing trough. It's back up to about 41 this month. So confidence and in market conditions going forward has moved up quite a bit among builders, and I think that's also a good reflection of what we've seen in housing starts and house prices.
And just so our viewers know, how many builders does the National Association of Home Builders represent?
Our membership now is about 140,000 builders around the country.
That's a lot. That's a lot. A lot of national builders, big companies, or do you have some small companies as well?
We have some of both. One of the important parts of our federation, the National Association of Home Builders, is the fact that home building is largely a small business activity, and so 80% of our members build fewer than 25 homes a year. So It is a small business, more of a family business operation. But we also do have some of the bigger builders who are members.
Okay. The future position of Texas, as far as the economy goes, where do you think we're headed?
I think that Texas is going to be well positioned with continuing high energy prices. I think the economy is getting better going forward, both in total output, GDP, and labor market conditions. I think the unemployment rate will be moving down steadily through 2013 and 14. So I think overall conditions nationally will be getting better, and I think that Texas will be very much in the lead in terms of those conditions getting better, that improvement.
Where we like to be, in the lead.
Definitely good news for Texas. So for people who are thinking about buying in 2013, it's a good year to buy, huh? Interest rates are still pretty low?
It certainly is. Interest rates are low. They will stay low. The Fed has indicated that they're very focused on keeping both short-term and long-term rates very low. That will affect mortgage rates, keeping them very low. House prices have finally shown signs of improving after a steep decline and a period of bouncing along the bottom. They've started to move up, and so conditions are very good with very reasonable prices, very low interest rates. I think that home buying in 13 is certainly going to pick up.
Do you guys have a website where a consumer could go and learn more?
Sure. We have our website is www.nahb.org for the National Association of Home Builders, and there's a lot of information there. You can find a local builder in some parts. We have some forecast information up there. We also track some prices for the construction process, building materials. So there's just a wealth of information, and it says a lot about our education and advocacy programs.
All right, sounds good. A lot of great information from Robert Denk. He is a senior economist with the National Association of Home Builders. If you've got a real estate question for James or myself, you can call us at 281-882-8088, and you can also tweet us your questions using hashtag HRER. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm Shannon Register.
I'm James Brown.
We'll be right back.